What does that mean, private equity firms buying up nursing homes?
It's an investment firm. They buy up good deals where they can make a profit, and they make decisions based on profit, not on the care of people. And when you look at across the board nationwide in the star ratings of nursing homes, this is how the national agency who does the ratings, you can have a 1-star nursing home, which is the very poorest, to a 5-star nursing home.
How does Louisiana do?
Louisiana ranks dead last.
Last.
Dead last. And I think it would surprise a lot of people that the nursing home your loved one is in, more than likely, is a 1 or 2-star nursing home. And they have now protection under the Medical Malpractice Act, which now limits your ability to seek legal redress if something happens.
Welcome to Bayou Justice, Breaking Victims, Protecting Power. I'm your host, Chip Wagar, a medical malpractice attorney dedicated to reforming Louisiana's healthcare laws. On this show, we dive deep into the challenges faced by patients in our state, exploring how current laws often favor institutions over individuals. Each episode will bring you compelling stories from victims, insights from legal experts, and perspectives from lawmakers. Join us as we work to shed light on these issues and push for meaningful change in the Bayou State.
Hello, everybody. It's Chip Wagar again, and we're here for another episode of Bayou Justice, Breaking Victims and Protecting Power, because that's what Louisiana's Medical Malpractice Act does. Today, I'm here with Denise Bottcher from the AARP, the Louisiana chapter, I think, of the AARP. And we're here to talk about medical malpractice as it affects seniors. And the impact that the Medical Malpractice Act has on full and fair compensation among seniors for the injuries and death that are caused by medical malpractice. Most people know or are getting to know the fact that it's more common than initially thought. Medical malpractice is the 3rd leading cause of death in this country, according to a Johns Hopkins survey that was done in recent years. So it's thought to be between 250,000 and 440,000 people die every year of medical errors in the United States. To put that in context, vehicular deaths are about 40 to 50,000 a year. Gunshot deaths, both suicide and homicide, are again about 40 to 50,000 a year. So medical malpractice accounts for between 5 and 9 times as many deaths as homicides, suicides, and vehicular deaths combined. And that's a lot of death. Not to mention catastrophic injuries that are caused by medical malpractice. And the reason we invited Denise here today is because seniors are particularly vulnerable to medical malpractice, aren't they?
They are, very much so, particularly when they're in a setting like a nursing home setting or assisted living, even if they're at home and they have care provided for them at home. Absolutely.
They can be in a situation where they're largely dependent on other people, including medical doctors and so forth, for their maintenance and care.
They are. And it goes from the doctor all the way to a certified nursing assistant who is caring for them in a facility and following orders, or even the activities of daily living, Chip, which involve bathing. It involves getting them in and out of the bed safely, eating. I mean, all of those things. So when we think about caring for a young child, sometimes that can translate also into caring for an older adult who has a lot of chronic issues that need to be managed, medication management, all of those things, nutrition. So
those little things that the pills are, you have to put them in every day because you forget whether you've taken them.
That's right, right. And sometimes it's several times a day, right? So then you have medications that are for the morning, some taken with food, some taken on an empty stomach, some taken at lunch, some taken right before bed, or some can't be taken together. All of that has to be closely monitored.
And medication errors is one form of medical malpractice, and that happens in nursing homes and to seniors, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes.
This past year, the Louisiana legislature passed a bill that sort of pushed nursing homes under the Medical Malpractice Act, which limits your rights. It takes rights away from you as far as full and fair compensation goes, and many other things. The AARP in Louisiana opposed that bill.
We did.
Why did they oppose that bill?
We did for a couple of reasons. First, it certainly limits a person and their families to seek redress, to seek legal redress, to seek compensation for the damages that were caused to themselves, oftentimes leaving them unable to care for themselves or leaving them in such bad shape they're having to have more medical procedures done, higher acute care, or even death. So first of all, it limits that. Second, it places the management companies of the nursing homes, which these are companies, these are businesses. They're not doctors. They're now included in that. So, Chip, we've seen trending across the nation that private equity firms are now in the business of buying up nursing homes.
What does that mean, private equity firms buying up nursing homes? What?
It's an investment firm. So basically what it is, it's investment. They buy up good deals where they can make a profit, and they make decisions based on profit, not on the care of people. And we've seen that time and time again. And when you look at across the board nationwide in the star ratings of nursing homes, so you may have this is how the national agency who does the ratings, you can have a 1-star nursing home, which is the very poorest, to a 5-star nursing home.
How does Louisiana do?
Louisiana ranks dead last. Dead last. And I think it would surprise a lot of people that the nursing home your loved one is in, more than likely, is a 1 or 2-star nursing home. And they have now protection under the Medical Malpractice Act, which now limits your ability, the individual or family, to seek legal redress if something happens.
Now, these equity firms is buying up nursing homes. Is that something that's been happening in Louisiana these past few years?
Not yet. So, to the best of my knowledge, not yet. But we fully expect it to. We have seen large companies buy up nursing homes for their portfolio. We have seen that, so that you do have management companies that are from Texas and Florida and Georgia buying up nursing homes in Louisiana as part of their portfolio. It's a business strategy. And so their strategy is to earn money, right, while taking care of people. Some companies do that very well, and others do not. And so when this legislation came up in this session, it made us very nervous. And we knew we had to do our homework and start pressing the case about how dangerous this law is to older adults in Louisiana.
Does the AARP think that compensation, full, fair compensation when it comes to medical malpractice or other negligent injuries that occur to seniors is a deterrent to disregarding patient safety rules, disregarding medical standards of care, and so on and so forth? Is there a role for medical malpractice damage awards in terms of deterrence and encouraging better behavior?
I think it is true that those types of things can incentivize or de-incentivize, right, the role that these management companies will have on the quality of care that they provide. But we have seen over the course of decades that nursing homes have not provided the care that families would hope to receive. And they consistently rank very low on their quality of care, their quality of maintaining minimum nursing hours, their quality of training for their staff. So I think that families, when they place their individual in a nursing home, expect there to be a level of skilled nursing there that is competent to that in other facilities. And oftentimes it's not.
I was just going to come to that. Now, staffing of nursing homes or assisted living facilities and so forth has a lot to do with the quality of care.
It's directly tied to it. Absolutely.
And that's not medicine. That's not, we're not talking here about, procedures or diagnosis and so forth. This is maintenance and daily care of patients, many of whom do have medical issues, right?
That is right.
And so what does understaffing or poor quality staffing, where instead of having, say, nurses, one just has, orderlies, people with, not to diminish anyone here, but
Right.
just don't have the education and training of a nurse. Instead, they're an orderly or something like that. Those are now covered by the Medical Malpractice Act in Louisiana, aren't they?
That's right. So it covers everyone in the facility, from the receptionist to the janitorial or maintenance staff. It covers everyone. And everyone who is employed by the nursing home certainly has a role to play. So, for example, the air conditioning plays a huge role in someone's health. We had several people die after Hurricane Ida because they didn't have backup generators to maintain air conditioning. They were in a hot box. And so
that's
even
not medical malpractice.
That is not medical malpractice. But I think that when you think of the full scope of trying to maintain someone's health, poor air quality is one of them. Nutrition. We can talk about nutrition for days on end and how important. I mean, food is medicine. Then you have the management of prescription drugs. You have the management of psychotics, which Louisiana nursing homes are very prone to use to keep everyone under control. The bed rails, right, for their safety and health, those types of things. No, it does not require someone with a medical degree or even a bachelor's degree in nursing. But it does require someone who has been appropriately trained, that has continuing training, and who has some type of accountability of performance in their job, so that you have a career pathway in a nursing home, right? So
I'll tell you a case I have right now. I won't mention names, but it takes place in Louisiana, just to illustrate what you just said. This is a gentleman who has difficulty swallowing and so forth, and he is not to receive certain kinds of food because he can choke. And he is supposed to be watched and cared for that way. And he's brought from his room into a cafeteria that's largely empty. There's access, and this is a gentleman who was assaulted earlier in his life and has some brain damage. So he's not, he's functioning at the level maybe of a 3 or 4 year old child. Okay, and right within arm's reach is all kinds of goodies, including in this case peanut butter and so forth, and he helps himself to it while he's not being supervised. And he chokes to death over about 10 minutes. It's on video camera in a nursing home while he's just totally unsupervised. Is that medical malpractice? I don't think so. I don't think that there's no medical doctor needed to be there and so forth. And this is what I'm fighting now in the courts, is whether it is or isn't medical malpractice. Today, with the law that was passed by the legislature this year, it's covered. There's no question about it. This happened slightly before that, a couple months before that. That would be covered by the Medical Malpractice Act today, wouldn't it?
It would be. And AARP believes that all of these cases should have their day in court, right? And that only a judge could decide whether or not the application of medical malpractice is applied fairly and justly. And so to stop that prior to it ever reaching anyone's opinion, a court decision, we believe is unfair and unjust.
Now, medical malpractice in Louisiana, anyway, doesn't just affect the victim. It does it. It affects other people, affects their children. It can affect their grandchildren. It's kind of a ripple effect that goes out when a person, a senior, is treated below the medical standard of care and has been injured or killed as a result of medical malpractice. That affects an entire family, doesn't it?
It does. And I would like to add that it affects the entire community where they lived. And I think that it's important that not only are these nursing home, patients, but they're residents of a community. And so what happens to one isn't isolated. It's probably happening to someone else in that nursing home. So that if one person was unsupervised and choked to death, I bet you 9 times out of 10, that is happening across the board at that certain facility. So I think all families, all individuals should absolutely know what is happening day in, day out at a nursing home.
Now, this year, the organization that I'm with, the Louisiana Patient Rights Advocacy Forum, we have been meeting with legislators, and we intend to push for a bill to be passed by the legislature that would raise the medical malpractice caps, would enact other reforms to remove restrictions on people who are victims of medical malpractice. And that is something that the AARP would encourage or would support people to do something about.
We would. And I think it's important to note that the medical malpractice, the original law, it's some time ago. 1975. And those caps are very low. It's long overdue for an update that's appropriate. And, I do know we have to manage the business needs of, the healthcare industry and all of that there's a certain level of risk. But to have not addressed those low amounts and the restrictions on bringing a case, correct, it's not, well, it says a lot about Louisiana.
Yeah, no, it does. I think so too. And I myself been handling medical malpractice cases for the better part of 20 years now. And we're a small law firm. We're one of maybe 2 or 3 dozen law firms that my law firm, and I'm not mentioning any names because this isn't an ad. This isn't an advert for us, but we're a small law firm. We can only handle so many cases, and so they tend to be very catastrophic cases or death. And we see a lot of this, these tragedies and how it affects people and their families. And there are some things worse than death that can happen from medical malpractice. And over those years, I was waiting for someone to do something, for someone to step up and say, wait a minute, this is 1999, this is 2005, this is 2015. Come on, we need to do something. And nobody did, pretty much. So me and some other victims of medical malpractice and lawyers, we started this organization a few years ago, and it's grown and it's built up. And by the way, I would say our organization fought side by side with the AARP against this bill. But welcome to our world now.
Right. That's right.
It's a sad and sorry world. But now is the time to do something about this, because we're all going. Well, I hope we're all going to be seniors someday. Imagine the effect on the other members of that nursing home, or the other residents of that nursing home, with something like this that happened, with this guy choked to death and was carried out in a body bag because no one was where they were supposed to be and doing what they were supposed to be doing. And this happens a lot in nursing homes, and it affects the people who live there. I think can be very scary and very dark experience to see that kind of thing happening.
No doubt. And I think that when families or an individual is admitted into a nursing home, they hope and pray that their loved one is going to be safe.
Because that's a hard decision to make.
It is a hard decision. And for some families, it's the only decision that they can make because they're not equipped to be able to care for an individual because they don't have the durable medical equipment or the education and training that someone with a CNA license has. And so they truly trust that community to care for him. So we always advise families who are reaching out to us for advice to do their homework, to visit the nursing home, to do a tour, to do some research, to see if anything has transpired at that nursing home that they need to be aware of, to know those ratings. But then once their loved one has been admitted into the nursing home, we suggest that they visit or call on that person every single day. Many of us, we have to work every single day, right? We're not able to go to the nursing home, but it's important that you have some type of way to communicate with your loved one in that nursing home to make sure that they're being appropriately cared for.
So true. I had a brother who unfortunately had ALS, and his needs got to the point where it was beyond what my wife and I could take care of him. He was, and fortunately, he went into a very nice facility and so forth that took good care of him. But it's tough. It's really an emotional thing to admit that I can't. Your needs are beyond what I can do. And I did visit him every day. We put him in a place that was very close to our house. And even though this was a really nice place and they did a great job, I mean, you just got to go. I tell people, again, looking at all this malpractice over 20 years, you go into a hospital, you have a family member or a loved one with you. I mean, do not go alone or do not permit another family member or loved one to go alone.
That's right. That's great advice.
I have I took some notes before this. I have, if you could explain to a Louisiana senior or their adult children, why is reform of this law important to them personally? What would you say?
I would say that it's a law that's really outdated. And in order to keep up with the standards of care that we absolutely must demand, that we shouldn't just resign ourselves to a low standard of care, we should expect the very best. And so in order to do that, we have to update this law.
Sometimes I think here in Louisiana, we kind of settle cheap. We don't demand what people in other states demand, and we tend to accept things the way they are more than we should. Do you think?
I would absolutely agree with that. And I think that sometimes that's what others expect from us anyway. I think that's how this law got passed, that excludes and exempts, nursing homes from a regular course of redress. And it's important that families expect the highest level of care from any individual, any institution, any hospital organization, that they should go in there with eyes wide open and take great notes. Like you said, you've got to bring a family member with you. I always bring a spiral notebook, right? I write down everything, and now we have e-charts, right? So it's there.
What's in that cup of medicine?
That's right.
What are those pills? Yeah.
That's right. And I think it's more important than ever to demand excellent care.
And this is one thing that we really can't tolerate anymore. It's gone on too long as it is, and I think we need to change it for everybody's sake. I was some of the people I've interviewed here, Denise, like the gentleman I think you just met a few minutes ago. I mean, it's too late for them. The law is what it is, and they've suffered catastrophic injuries. But yet, they've come here and they've shared their experiences with our viewers because they want the law to be changed for those people out there who, unfortunately, are going to have to make use of the law, medical malpractice laws, to attempt to get some fair compensation for what's been done to them through no fault of their own, through medical malpractice. And I'm always touched by that because, again, it's too late for them. Don't let it be too late for you. You need to stand up now. Like I say, we'll all be seniors someday, if you're not already.
Right.
I already am.
That's right.
And it's a great time of life if you have your health, and so forth. But do something today. Get out there and make your voice be heard. We really were glad to pitch in with the AARP last year. Unfortunately, we couldn't stop that train from rolling through. I think, and I hope that we'll have the AARP's support this year when we try to get some reform. And I think we can't. The AARP, the Patient Rights Advocacy Forum, we don't have the money to outmoney the established, lobbyists and so forth for these gigantic nursing home conglomerates and so forth, or the hospital chains and so on and so forth. We have to depend on the righteousness of our cause, really, and that I think is getting the word out is so important. What is any plans that the AARP has to address this problem, here in Louisiana or elsewhere? Or what does the...
Sure. So, I think it's important for your viewers to know that in 2034, for the first time in world history, there will be more older adults than children, 18 and younger. We will outnumber them. So we are going to be a gray world, right? And when you think about that, the demands on healthcare are just going to increase, and it's going to be a lot of pressure. We're not graduating enough physicians, nurses. We're trying to keep them in the workforce, and that trickles on down. And so I don't see this issue resolving itself. So without people making their voices heard, that they want high quality care, they want it to be affordable, they want their healthcare provider trained and licensed and safe, all of those things, then we're going to see it just drastically decline. And that impacts your health is everything, right? I mean, that's how you get up in the morning, right? It's because you're alive and well. And so we have to do everything to protect that. It's precious. So if people don't become a part of the activities that we're doing to make sure that healthcare is affordable, it's safe, our healthcare providers are safe and licensed and trained, then we're all going to be in a world of hurt.
Someone once said, you get the government you deserve, and if you don't speak up, and if you don't, in a democracy, if you don't speak up and you don't get involved, you leave it to the other people who have a financial interest and other interests that may not be yours and so forth. Funny you should say what you just said, because my grandfather used to tell me that when I was a little kid. He said, "Sonny boy, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything." And he was a healthy octogenarian eventually.
Mm-hmm.
He took really good care of his health. But no, there's just not too many things that are more important than your health. And we have a right to expect and demand that healthcare professionals act professionally.
100%. That's
Denise,
right.
thank you so much for coming by here today and sharing your time with us. If you want to do something, and I encourage you to do so, come visit our website or the AARP website.
Mm-hmm.
Our website is Patient Rights la.com. We have a page on our website in which you can locate your legislator based upon where you live, one in the Senate, one in the House. Make your views known. Speak up. Encourage them to vote for reform of Louisiana's antique and brutal Medical Malpractice Act for your sake, for your family's sake, before you get caught up in this system. And Denise, what about the AARP? What should our viewers do to speak up and encourage the AARP?
Well, I would encourage you to also check out our website at aarp.org and you search for Louisiana, and there you'll find all the information on how to contact us. And as we look ahead to the 2026 legislative session, we know that healthcare is going to be very prominent.
Yes, it always is.
Always is.
Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you for listening to Bayou Justice. I hope today's episode has given you valuable insights into the complexities of medical malpractice in Louisiana. If you'd like to learn more about our mission or get involved in our advocacy efforts, please visit patientrightsla.com. Your support can make a real difference in the lives of patients across our state. Remember, together we can create a fairer, more just healthcare system for all Louisianians. This is Chip Wagar, and I'll see you next time on Bayou Justice.